So we got a killer on a run in Ohio.
Hello.
Hey, is this Matheau Moore?
This is.
My name's Bill Swafford. I'm with the podcast Just In Case You Forgot.
Bill, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
So I got your email. What is it you'd like to talk about?
Well, I don't know if you know anything about my case.
Yeah, I know a little bit about it.
Usually what I do is I'll reach out to people in your genre, in the podcast or the true crime genre, that have done pieces on my wife. And so I usually communicate with them. Yours, I just happened to read a part of. I don't know. I just caught a part of it. Something you said that just kind of, hey, that's maybe something that would be interesting. So I just reached out to you. I know that I haven't listened into your pods, but I did listen. I did check you out. You just kind of like review murders in Ohio.
Yes. Well, what I find interesting is I'm also doing another one called Just In Case You Forgot that's out in Delaware County.
Right. That's what I caught. It's an old case that you're bringing back.
Yes. And you said something in there you'd like to talk about how law enforcement and everybody treated you up in there.
Well, yeah, I usually do this. I did write a book and I am promoting it, but usually what happens is when I reach out to the media is they are just interested in my case. They usually know about it, so it's just really literally what I do is I just sit back and answer questions, and then for that they'll mention my book. What you're doing, I don't really know. Are you like pro-establishment? Are you more of a are you pro-police or?
Oh no, I'm not pro-police. I'm not out trying to push their agenda or anything like that. No. I mean,
right. Well, that would probably help a little bit. Yeah, just my story is just very interesting. It's an interesting.
Like I said, I know a little bit about your case, but I try to make sure that I don't know enough to form an opinion yet.
You're right. I just know that people that are in the true crime genre are interested in my case. I'm not sure what yours is about. I could tell you about what happened to me in my interaction with the police and the prosecutor's office in Delaware County. If that would be interesting, if you think it would be interesting for your listeners to hear something like that, I mean, I'd be more than willing to
yeah, actually, yeah. I'd be more than willing to listen to that.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure what your audience is looking for, but I'm getting a lot of reaction from just. And
I'm kind of curious on how Delaware County handles their cases and how they came to put you up. I mean, was Delaware County the ones that charged you?
Yeah, I was arrested. My wife and I lived in Westerville. So the lead detective in her case was a Westerville police detective. But I was arrested and then tried in Delaware County. Their Delaware County court. I have a few questions for you. One that I can't really get I can't get an answer from is there ever any pressure from who has more power bringing a case to court? Is it the prosecutor or is it the detectives?
The prosecutor.
So the prosecutor, so it's not like the detectives have a weak case, they bring it to the prosecutors and demand that it gets.
Yeah, the prosecutors make that decision.
Okay, okay, yeah, you're the first guy that ever said that. I couldn't really ever get a direct.
The only thing that they can do is they can bring up their persons of interest, and in order for them to get an order for a warrant for a person, they have to get it signed off.
Hmm.
So that would have to be a prosecutor, DA, or whatever.
I did get they did get a grand jury to indict me, but I've been told that that's really nothing. There's really not a lot to that. I don't know the ins and outs of a grand jury. I don't even know what it is. Is it 12 jurors from the public, or I don't even know what a grand jury consists of. Is it are they?
Pretty sure 12? That's just judges.
So it's judges that do that. So yeah, that would be. So I got indicted, and it was just surprised to everyone because there was no evidence. Like what they brought to trial, there just wasn't anything there. I mean, my jury was out for. I have a juror that's speaking. Actually, there's a few jurors that are now speaking. One of the majors has picked up my story, and they're doing a true crime thing, and they went out and found jurors. However they do it, and the one juror said, the one I talked to said that they were literally like the first day, the first 10 minutes, they were like, what does everybody think? And everybody said innocent right away. They decided to take the night and think about it. When they came back the next day, they tried to do it correctly. They wanted to make sure. So they took an hour or two, but everybody was really not guilty right away. So it's strange that they could get a grand jury to indict me, but they did. And I'm sure maybe you know more about that than I do. My attorney told me that it's nothing. He would say that you can indict a ham sandwich. That was the lawyer's speak for whether you can get prosecuted. You can get a grand jury to indict you.
Yeah.
So they brought me to trial. I was in jail for 15 months. You could just imagine your life falls apart. I lost my house, my life savings, my mother's inheritance. I had to use it all to pay defense attorneys. I got a real good defense attorney. Do you know my defense attorney?
No.
Diane Menaggi. She was the doctor. Remember the doctor? What was that? There was a doctor that he was being charged with like 12 murders out of Columbus. He was taking people off of life support.
Oh, I remember.
Using fentanyl. It was a national case.
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. I don't forget the guy's name, though.
Yeah. Diane Menaggi, she came aboard, and she just really gave him a whooping. In my case, she gave him the once over. There just really wasn't much there to say circumstantial. It wasn't even circumstantial evidence.
How long of an investigation did they do on you?
She went missing on May 25th of 2020. They found her 4 months later, a little less than 4 months later, just down the road. Literally a 5-minute walk from our condo in Westerville. Apparently, there was dogs all over. They searched. Those first couple of days, there was people all over, and they missed her. They found her hanging from partially hanging from a tree with a USB cord wrapped around her neck. It took them 9 months after that to arrest me.
Did they ever look into anybody else besides you?
At trial, my attorney got the lead detective to say no. You'd really have to. They had tracker dogs that came on Tuesday, which was the day after I called her in. It wasn't even 24 hours later. And they tracked this tracker dog tracked her scent to a house just north of where we lived. They brought in tracker dogs again 2 weeks later, different tracker dog who again caught her scent. They got her scent at my house and went to the same house again, just north of where we lived. Literally, you could see the house from where we lived. And they never investigated the guy. They never, the police notes they just didn't do anything. So my attorney got the lead detective to admit that they didn't develop any other suspects. They got me. I was on the radar right from the beginning, and they decided it was me. They got that tunnel vision thing, and it's amazing. That tunnel vision is scary to say the least. I mean, when they decide that you're it. There's nothing going to change their mind. Not even tracker dogs going to someone's house 2 weeks apart. There was several other things too that you could point to during trial. That they didn't develop any other suspects. So,
how many times did they interview you?
They within 48 hours of me calling her in, they did bring me in voluntarily and accused me of murder, with no evidence. They just decided that it was me. They did the cop thing, the screaming and yelling, pointing their fingers in my face. I took a lie detector test. They said I failed it. It was a voice inflection test, which, if you know anything about these interrogations, they just lie to you. They tell you you failed it just to try to put pressure on you.
Yeah.
It's just a trick that they play. After I was 100% cooperative up until then, and then I left and I went and got a lawyer. I didn't pay a lawyer, but a friend of mine knew a lawyer, and the lawyer's like, "Yeah, you're it. You can't talk to them anymore." So I just stopped. I stopped. They weren't reaching out to talk to me anyway. But after that, I didn't talk to them. But once or twice on the phone for a very short amount of time. They would have they had a search that they invited the community of Westerville to participate in. It was just up the road, like a mile, 2 miles up the road from where we lived, and I didn't even know about it. But just before it was about to happen, they called me and hey, you want to come down here? And there's a bunch of people here. They're volunteers. They're going to search for Emily. And by then I knew better. You just don't. Your lawyer tells you you can't communicate with police. You can't talk to them. Don't talk to them because they're building a case against you. So you got to not talk to them. So they interviewed me one time.
One time.
For a couple hours. It was not even 48 hours after I called her in. And then they accused me of murder. And then my lawyer said, that's it. Don't talk to police. Don't talk to the media because the media is doing the same thing. It was, I wrote a book about it. That's about all I can tell you. It's pretty much all in the book, but it's a very strange situation to be in. I didn't know anything about law enforcement. I had no trouble prior. I'm not a criminal, so I didn't know really what was going on.
How long did your trial last?
The trial was that's another interesting facet of this whole thing. I mean, isn't it funny how some trials are long, and some trials aren't so long?
Yeah.
Isn't that? I figure this. It's so about money. Money is so much part of it. It was how much could I afford? How long of a trial could I afford? And that's what I got from it. My trial was 8 days.
8 days?
8 days is what I could afford.
How many witnesses did they bring against you?
The prosecution called 21 witnesses, and my attorney called 2.
And it only took 8 days.
It was very coordinated, and it was very down to the minute. It was like they really coordinate trials. They know how long things are going to take. And it was 8 days. They didn't have anything. It was like they just kind of would bring people up just to bring them up. What do they call them? Prop witnesses?
Yeah, character witnesses and things like that.
Just nonsense, just to fill up time. Just because there wasn't anything there. There was 30,000 pages of discovery, and there was nothing in it. So it was just garbage, crap, just things that didn't pertain to anything.
Now, did the sheriff's department handle the investigation, or was this a local city law enforcement?
No, this was local, Westerville Police Department.
Okay.
I did notice on your thing that you were looking at county sheriffs.
Yeah.
You're more of a county sheriff kind of. They were involved. They were around, but it was more of a Westerville. I don't know if you know anything about Westerville.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's kind of there's not a lot of crime there. They got a lot of time on their hands. So when this thing popped up, they really put the gas pedal to the floor, so to speak, and put a lot of money and a lot of time into this.
So you think they just failed their investigation altogether?
It's my contention that it's more of, and this is all things I've learned, and I don't think you can really come up with it until you're a victim of it. And I came to realize that it's more about money and just what government does. It's power, right? It's this, hey, look at us, we're working, look at all these things we're doing, look at all these people we're utilizing all these people to try to get this thing solved, and they're really not doing it. It was kind of like they were churning a huge account. They, at the end, when I got arrested, they listed all the departments that they used. They had the FBI, the OBI, all these different specialists and all this. And
coming up on your left.
It seemed to me that
use your left hand and unlock the door. Only your left hand.
A trial generates.
Put your hands back on your head.
Like justice, or even your guilt or innocence. It's just, hey, we have an opportunity here. Westerville is not like Columbus. Columbus, they have murders all the time. They have time. It's just naturally occurring that they have all this action all the time. But not Westerville. It's literally like,
coming
hey,
off.
we got a chance to do this thing. Let's do it. And they just. I don't know if they get tunnel vision because they're trained to get tunnel vision, or this is how they're trained. You need to, okay, we need to make a decision. This is what it's going to be, and this is what we're going to go for. And nothing will take their focus off of what that is. I'm not really sure, but the Westerville Police Department just botched the whole thing up.
Let's get a marked unit up at our location.
They found her 4 months later in an apparent suicide. I think they missed her those first initial days. I mean, they brought in this.
Yeah, we got it.
You ever heard of Texas EquiSearch?
Yeah.
They brought those people in, and
we got
they
a code 3 on our suspect.
Westerville looking for her. They were at the bottom of retention ponds.
Hey, we still got to hit the trunk.
Ravines and they were all over the place looking for Emily, and they missed her. Those dogs missed her. I actually brought them
coming up on your right
to the spot that they eventually found her. They had asked me, where did Emily like to walk? And I know this one spot that she likes to go to that's right up the road. I don't know why you want to go there, but they wanted me to bring them to where she had recently been foraging. We were kind of like hippies. We foraged for greens. And so I brought them there, and I'm like, well, this is where she comes. This is the wood sorrel. This is the green that she'd recently discovered, and this is where she'd been coming. And then 4 months later, they found her at that very spot, but in the woods that they didn't go in. And they told everybody that they did. They said that they'd been there 3 different times, and once with a dog, once with a cadaver dog, and they didn't get a hit. But come to find out that they didn't. They just said they did. They just told everybody that they did. And that came out at trial. So it's my contention that they made the mistake. They missed her. They put all their chips on murder right away. And then when they found her, there just wasn't pulling that train around. You would probably know if you're, this is your thing. I mean, does that sound too far out of bounds? That they would, hey, we've gone down this road too far. We can't turn it around, so we just keep going this direction. Does that sound like something?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Let me ask you this though: what do you think it was a suicide?
Yeah, if you read my book, it's on Kindle. It's Amazon. You go on Amazon. It's an ebook.
I know it's
and it's Emily, a staged suicide in Ohio is the name of the book. And I go into detail of what I know to be true. And yeah, Emily had emotional problems. she was suicidal. So it wasn't like a surprise to me. It was just a surprise to me that they react. Well, it's on TV, right? I mean, there's a show that I actually never knew existed because I don't watch like daytime TV, but it says suicide, murder, or accident, right? You ever see that stupid show that's on like that Oprah station?
No.
It's some silly. So this happens quite often. The police show up at a suicide, and if they can make it out to be a murder, they will, which isn't all that hard. You know, if you start manipulating things and looking at people's lives, and I mean, it's not really that hard for them to do. So that's it was a suicide that they missed, and they said it was murder, and you won't believe what they did to me in the media. I mean, they crucified me and turned me into this monster. This is before they found her. I mean, the town of Westerville, the town of Columbus, that's through social media, and the local news too. They turned it into this horrible thing. So it was quite an experience because I had never I wasn't a criminal, just a regular guy, just living his life, and all of a sudden I am being accused of being a serial killer. I mean, whatever they could think of to say about me, they were saying, and carte blanche. There was no one there to stop them.
Yeah.
And it's if you read my book, it's in there. It's like as I'm leaving the interrogation the second day, they're like laughing at me, taunting me, going, "Good luck on social media. We don't need a body to get a conviction, and good luck on social media." And I really didn't know what they knew what that meant at the time. I'm like, okay, I'm just leaving. I was like, "Can I leave? Are you going to charge me with murder?" Like, "No, you can leave." No, it's okay. As I'm leaving, they're like saying this to me, "Good luck on social media." And within a couple days, all of a sudden, I'm like, "Oh my God, this is what they mean." When people just started saying the worst things you could think of saying on social media.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be an awful thing to go through.
Yes, it gives you a new kind of a look on authority, government. I mean, it's certainly changed my views in a lot of ways about, especially law enforcement, about what exactly are they up to in a lot of these places. They're overfunded. I mean, city police. They have there's lots going on, but some of these other smaller police departments, especially Westerville, I mean, they are very well funded. They have all the gizmos and trucks and different things, and they're just sitting around twiddling their thumbs with nothing to do. So, I mean, this was a big thing for them. Yeah. And in the end, like I say in my book, I don't think it was guilt or innocence. They weren't trying to solve anything. They just did it to churn the account, to make the money. It turned into like it's not my guilt or innocence that was priority. It was just the money it's the money that a case generates.
Yeah. And
I don't know if that's just me being me. I don't know if it's going on in other places. You would probably know. I mean, Ohio is Ohio. I don't know, but I mean, I can tell you that's what's going on in Westerville. That's what's going on in Delaware County. They're well funded, and they want to spend that money. They want to justify their means to the public.
Yeah.
And I don't think most people realize that. I certainly didn't. I trusted them to come and help me. That's why I called them when she came up missing. I called them for their help. I had no idea that it would turn into this, or I never would have called them.
When did you call them?
I woke up on Monday the 25th, and she wasn't around, which wasn't too abnormal. But it got late in the day, and she didn't come back. I mean, I thought she was just around somewhere. And the day just got long and long. I don't know what it was. At some point, I started calling friends and people on Facebook, and I'm looking for her. I'm like, does anybody know where Emily is? And no one knows. And eventually, it got to the point where it started getting towards evening, which was really not good. I mean, there was something going on because COVID was happening, and we were really close. So we spent our days. We pretty much did the same thing every day. get up, drink coffee. She'd start the day out doing whatever. So it got to the point where I called her best friend. I don't know what time it was, in the afternoon sometime, and she's like, "You need to call the police." I'm like, "Whoa, police? Hey, really?" She's like, "Yeah. Where she's probably something wrong." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. She wasn't the type of person that would just not tell you if she was going to go somewhere." So after a while, it got weird. So I called him. That day, which was, I don't know, whatever. Sometime in the afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, and they came over. It's all on YouTube. My entire trial's on YouTube, and it was on Court TV. Court TV took it, and so it was nationwide.
Huh. Okay, I might check that out.
Yeah, it's really boring because there's nothing there. But if you're like a law student or into trials, you should really watch it because it's.
Well, you never know what's boring to some people. It might not be boring to other people.
Right. But there's a lot. There's a lot that when you get it, they would bring someone up and talk to them for, an hour or two. They wouldn't really say anything. So it was, you're waiting for them to show some sort of evidence, but it's just not there. So, but yeah, there was other parts of the trial that were extremely interesting. Of course, I was interested in all what was going on. So,
what kind of physical evidence did they have against you?
They had absolutely no physical evidence. They're basically, you could wrap it up like this. They found forensic, not board certified, but a pathologist. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
She wasn't board certified, and I don't think her specialty was in forensics. She worked at OSU, and she said that Emily had injuries to her neck that weren't consistent with a hanging. And then they found a strangulation expert, if you can believe that there is someone out there like that. His name is Dr. Schmock. He testifies at trials. That's what he does for a living. So he came in and said that the injuries to Emily's neck weren't consistent with a hanging, that they were consistent with strangulation. So they got that on. So if you believe those guys, and of course we went out and found a doctor who was a board certified pathologist, saying that no, that absolutely these are consistent with with someone hanging themselves. So it was a little battle of the experts, let's say. But other than that, it was when if you believe that she was strangled, who else is it going to be but him? Even though there isn't any forensics, there's no physical evidence, no eyewitnesses, nothing. But if you believe she was strangled, who else is it going to be besides?
So you think that nobody else could have hurt your wife?
I don't think.
Because what if they are telling the truth and you are innocent? Then that means that there is somebody out there that possibly murdered your wife.
I do struggle with that on occasion, but it's just too far out there. She had issues with suicide. She was suicidal for sure. And what are the odds? And why would someone put her up there after the fact? Just didn't make it's too far.
Oh, people's done crazier things. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, there is that possibility, but I don't see it. I really don't. It would be too weird and too off the wall, and it just makes Occam's razor. She went up there. She wanted a quiet place to do it. She did it outside the condo for her reasons. It's in the book. If you want to read it, I go into that at a level. She did what she did, and they just didn't find her the next day. So she was out there hanging by her neck for 4 months before they finally, these women that were looking around, found her. It's either that or someone. I don't even how would they even get her? I was home with her. It's just too far out there. But yeah.
Well, apparently she left the house at some point.
She left the house. At some point she did leave the house.
Without you knowing, so.
So someone would grab her while she's outside the house, and then what? Then set her up to look like a hanging?
I mean, you never know. People are crazy. I'm just saying that's if their evidence is correct. I'm just saying that's if.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not doubting what you're saying. I'm just saying that's if they're correct.
It would be I don't know how to explain it to you. Maybe it's me not wanting to deal with something like that. I'm not sure, but I don't see it. I just don't see it. And if I did see it, I would tell you, but I just don't. Okay. If you spend some time and watch the trial and go over the evidence, and especially read my book, you'll know what happened. It doesn't. I know as much as people want it to be some sort of wacky, crazy thing, it really wasn't. It was just she killed herself. They missed her. They knew that they were in trouble, so they put this wacky story together about me killing her. It didn't have any validity to it. So at trial, it wasn't even close.
Did you serve your time in Delaware County then?
Pardon me?
Did you serve your time in Delaware County then?
I did. The Delaware County Jail. I was there for 15 months.
How was that place? How'd they treat you there?
Well, I got to know some of the guys up there. It was okay. I wasn't. It could have been worse, but it was. Jail is something that's hard to describe. It's a pressure cooker. The food's awful. It's not there for your comfort. Their jails are just there for some place for you to stay before you go to trial or go to prison. They're not like prisons. There's no programs and there's no things to do. You know, there's prisons. There's stuff to do. Jail is not for that. So and I was in this pod situation where these other guys, they had violence in their past. So you're not like in general population. So I was in a pod for 15 months, and it was COVID, so you couldn't go out. It was over long days, man. It was a long 15 months. Okay. And in the meantime, my life literally fell apart. I lost my house. I mean, you're not out there to take care of things, you know. So your life just falls apart.
I can understand that completely. Oh.
Yeah, there are. From how long have you been doing, Bill? How long have you been doing what you've been doing?
A couple of years.
So you're just kind of starting. What did you do before this?
This construction and stuff like that.
All right. Yeah, so you're not like ex-law enforcement, or you're not an attorney.
Oh, let me tell you, no, I'm not. There ain't no way I could be. I served some time myself for carrying a gun and stuff like that. So, yeah, I have no ties with law enforcement.
Yeah, so you've been in jail. You know the deal, right?
Yes, I've did it 8.5 months straight.
Sure. A gun got you in the violent offender pod.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, you're in there. Sure. Yeah. I was in there for the 4 other guys, right? Pretty much every day is the same. They bring you your food. Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's 8 months, long time.
I've been in a one-man cell and have to share it with 2 other guys for a couple of days, and I tell you what, that is one situation I don't like.
Yeah.
Especially when those 2 are already friends. You know what I mean? People wonder why don't you sleep so easy? Well, you don't lose that. So yeah, I understand. But yeah, I have no ties with law enforcement. So
yeah, the COs are they're cops, pretty much. You know what I mean? But most of them just want things to go smooth. I wasn't there to cause trouble. I don't know if you were there to cause trouble, but I wasn't. There were guys around. There were, to test you, but I just wanted to go to trial. I just didn't want to get in any kind of trouble. I think for the most part, people in jails, they don't want any other charges. Yeah. So they're not there to cause trouble. So
just want to get out and go home.
Yeah.
There's a few though that I know when I was in there, we had a couple that tried to escape and things like that. And
sure. Yeah, they're the lifers, you know.
They ended up getting some long sentences and stuff. So. But for the most part, yeah, everybody just wants to go home.
It was amazing to see the amount of...
thing is that when people go in, they don't try to help nobody out.
No, they're not there to help. No.
And when I was there, I tried to tell them, hey, I'm not a violent person. I just got I just got a drug problem. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Help me get off that way. I can start over or something.
Yeah, that's what most of it was with those guys that were in there. They just had drug problems.
But they treat you like you're a violent person no matter what.
Right.
And you end up feeling that way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. Would you have like a plea bargain type situation? Did you plead?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they got me pretty much. I was drunk, walking around town with a loaded gun and stuff. And
that's another thing, right? The plea thing. I don't think most people understand what that's what it is. Basically, you just go in there, they overcharge you, and then they try to get you to plead out. No one goes to trial, right? No one wants to go to trial. So it's just this thing where you're like, they're just trying to get you to say you're guilty of something lesser. So, the whole game, the whole lawyer thing, and then the court game.
Yeah, I haven't had a good experience with law enforcement throughout my life. And plus, I have a brother who pretty much looks like me, and he's in some bad stuff. And every time they stop me, they want to call me by his name, and
right,
it's like, man, I had a cop hold my ID and still call me by my brother's name. I'm like, look, man, you got my ID. Call me by the right name, please.
Right, he's fucking with you.
Yeah, so I know their tricks and their lies and.
Yeah, the whole I think with my thing when they leaked that I failed a lie detector test. I remember being Joe Schmo on the outside. Once you hear that about someone, it's over because you believe it. You think lie detectors work, right? So the police are telling everybody you failed a lie detector test. You're done in the public's eye. It's over. They believe that those things they work, and they don't. They don't work at all. That's why they're not admissible.
Yeah.
That's why can't use them in trial because they don't fucking work, dude. But in my case, they leaked it online. Said I failed the lie detector test. Once everybody in the community found out that was it. I was done.
Do you think they did that on purpose?
Absolutely. Police do all that shit on purpose. They tell you they're going to do it. Good luck on social media. Do all that shit. They were accusing me of being a murderer while I'm trying to find my wife. Could you imagine that? She's missing. I didn't know where she was. I had no idea. So I'm like, she just took off somewhere. She got in a car. She's crazy, and just had their whatever, and she took off. So I'm looking for her, and I'm looking for help from the public. And these people, these trolls that are online, it was the police, man. They make ghost accounts and they make comments. You could just tell the way they were acting, how they would say what they were saying online. You could tell it was them. Yeah, they're crafty.
Did you and her have any arguments or anything?
Nope. We were like the most mellow couple you could ever. No, I mean, I lived in Vegas for like 25 years prior to moving to Westerville. I went out. I know crazy women. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've had women that are violent, that throw things at you. They're arguing all the time. You know what I mean? They hit you. You know what I mean? I mean, just crazy women. Emily wasn't like that at all. Emily and I were just two mellow, super mellow people. They tried their best to make it story that we were violent, but it was a real weak case. They had a real weak case. Because we weren't violent. We wouldn't even yell at each other. So that they had a real tough time making the case. But they tried. They found friends of hers that were jealous of me. That got them to say weird things about me. You gotta watch the trial. You won't believe it. You won't believe it. If you go at it objectively and just watch it, you're like, this is nonsense. This. I mean, you can go into anybody's text messaging between their wives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
over a year, and you might have 1,000 pages, and maybe 10 pages of it are, you might be like, hey, there's a problem. You know what I mean? Who couldn't? But you should have saw our problems were so lame. There was no problem. A couple times we got snippy with each other, but that was it. We weren't the type of people just to start bitching at each other, and they brought that shit into trial. I'm not gonna let you you have to read the book or watch the trial, and if you do that, you're gonna be like, what is this? Why would they even bring this up? I could let you on the one thing. They said that there was 9 months of text messaging between us, and 2 months before she went missing, all of a sudden we stopped using the word love. Prior to that, the 7 months prior, we used the word love every day. It was the way we spoke to each other. Love you, see you, my love, can't wait to see my love. And all of a sudden, love stopped 2 months prior. And they said that was evidence that there was trouble in our marriage. But my attorney pointed out at trial that my wife started working from home because of COVID. So we didn't text at all anymore. There wasn't any texting. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, how hard was that to do? It was nothing for my attorney, because I had a really, really, really good attorney, high-priced attorney. She just tore their case apart. Everything that they said just came out to be nonsense. It was nothing for them. But they tried. I mean, they really tried to put me away for life for something I didn't do, and they knew I didn't do it. Because it's about money, Bill. You know what I mean? It's about fucking money. So it's definitely an interesting case to look at. It's all out there. It's all on YouTube. I got my book.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check it out. Like I said, I didn't want to check it out before I talked to you because I didn't want to form an opinion about it before we spoke.
I've been on a couple of podcasts. You're probably my fifth podcast. And one of the majors has picked up my, ABC, NBC, one of those people.
Yeah.
And I'm not supposed to tell anybody about it, so I'm just keeping it to myself, I suppose. I don't know, but they're doing a 2-part series. I've already been interviewed, so it's going to be one of the big deals for the crime genre. So, but I'm just out here trying to promote my book to let people know what really happened. So.
Well, I'll definitely check it out and let people know. And
yeah, if you ever want to spend the time and inform yourself, I mean, I can guarantee you and I could squeeze out a podcast for you. You know what I mean?
Well, I was thinking that if you'd be interested.
Yeah. You just do some work. I don't know. Is that what you're doing for a living now?
Well, I do that, and I got my other job too, but I do this.
I caught you on.
It usually takes me a couple of months to get one going.
Yeah, do you do some research? And if you want to get back to me, and I'm an open book, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll talk about my case forever. I'm intimate with it, so I know all about the ins and outs of it. But yeah, I don't know if your podcast is like you just want to try to solve like old cases, or I don't know where you're coming from, but
well, I got two different ones.
Got accused of murder and didn't do it.
Well, see, I got two different ones. The first one I got is called Murderers in Ohio. That's where I talk about convicted murderers. And the second one I got is called Just in Case You've Forgotten. That's where I'm talking about the Stacy Colbert case out of Columbus. She was taken from Columbus, but her body was found in Delaware County. So if you wanted just to be on one of my podcasts, I can put you on the Murderers in Ohio podcast, or like you said, we can possibly make a whole season or something out of this if you wanted to.
Sure. Just you got my name, you got my number. I'm around all the time. You know what I mean? So if you ever want to put something together, or if you ever just want me on as some sort of reference for something or whatever, you know my story now. You can get my book. It's only $10. Read up. Pretty much all you need to really know about my case is in my book. I mean, you're not gonna get, if you want to try to find out what happened, you're not gonna be able to go into the media, because there's all this shit on YouTube. There's like, there's hundreds of pieces on YouTube.
I'm more interested in watching the court trial. When I do podcasts, I try to stay away from other people's podcasts and YouTube because I don't want their opinion. I do that with all my podcasts.
It's not good information. It's not true.
So what I'll do is try to get whatever court documents and watch the court trial and everything myself, and then I'll contact you. And that's the way I do it with all my podcasts. I don't get influenced by other people's things. You know what I'm saying? Even with the news media articles, because they give out wrong information all the time.
They do. Absolutely. It's garbage. Absolutely.
So if I do this, it will be from actual documents, not from what other people say.
Well, you got about 8 days worth of trials, or 8 days worth of trial, and it's about 8, 9, 10 hours a day. So there's a lot. Well, there's a lot of downtime, so you don't have to listen to it all. But yeah, it's all on YouTube. Just type my name in there; it'll pop up.
Yeah, I'll be back in contact with you.
All right, man. All right, Bill. Thanks for talking.
Thanks. Bye.
All right.